Forbes India Developers A-List, powered by Jaqua Group.
It's only apt that we are discussing how India is redefining the luxury space, because India's heritage has been about luxury. It's been about opulence, the palaces that we've had, that we have in the country, the royalty that we have in the country. So there's so much already that is there for us to build upon. And in the luxury growth story of India, real estate has taken a leap forward, and the kind of housing that we've seen come up, especially in the last few years, has been phenomenal. It's been at par with the rest of the world. So, and we have here three leaders who are redefining the luxury space. So let me begin with Mr. Chordia first. You know, when we talk about luxury housing in the Indian context, what is it exactly that we refer to? You know, is it a price band? Is it the features that are being offered? If you could give us an overview, please.
Luxury housing, well, first we'll start with styling. How have you styled your home? How different it is? The layout. I wouldn't say size, but of course size does matter. But luxury can be even done in a smaller sizes. It is, if you are giving a taller apartment, the bigger.
Can you speak into the mic? Yeah.
Yeah. There are many aspects to pronounce luxury in a home, like we've been doing for last 20 years, and we have gone through the whole cycle of how to define, how to separate luxury from normal. It's all small things, right from your toilet layout to your door heights to your ceiling heights, the light fixtures, the kitchens, everything, how you make it more different than the normal construction.
Okay, Usmaji, you're with Prestige Realty in Bangalore, which is a lovely place, and it's the kind of architecture and the kind of luxury housing that we've seen come up in Bangalore. If you could talk a little bit about that, you know, is there a difference between how we view luxury in the north versus the south?
Well, I believe that luxury to me is very different. It's features, but what is luxury? Luxury is something that you have aspired for, what you have achieved. It is not only in the details, but also in the whole Indian context. It's the storytelling, it's the whole experience, the expectations, because I believe that the Indian buyer is so well traveled and so exposed that they want the best. How do you give that to them? It's using experience. It's about the whole AI, the features in the homes, and also much more than that. It is, I live in a home, but I have, certain things at my disposal, and it's also how you source ethically, and also bringing in the whole ecosystem and the environment. And what we're doing in Bangalore or South is no different from what's happening in the North.
Okay. Ashwini ji, you know, I wanted to get a sense from you on where are the buyers coming from? You know, we heard a number that about 6,000 luxury homes were sold in the Delhi NCR region. So what kinds of people are investing in these? Are they Indians? Are they NRIs? Are they foreigners? What's the buyer profile like?
So Bangalore being a cosmopolitan city as such, and it's huge it's the IT crowd that's predominantly living there as such. So we are seeing this in the last 5 years. We are seeing this whole buying. People have actually started buying more in terms of investing in real estate. The whole prior to COVID, like if you ask any of the real estate developers here, not only in Bangalore but across the country, I think everyone has had, year on year has been, the sales have only increased, and quite drastically as such. So for a city like Bangalore, it's predominantly, you still have the investors who are probably about 5-10% as such, but eventually it's end customer, end users itself who are buying these homes. And Bangalore, it's like I said, it's mostly it's a IT crowd as such.
I also want to get a sense from all of you on the buyer profile. You know, over the years, has there been a change in the kind of buyers that are coming out and buying luxury homes? That's one. And second, how has the features that the buyers are asking for, how have they changed and how have they evolved? Atulji.
So as the economy is growing in India, there is more aspirational buyers. So people are graduating to bigger homes, more expensive homes. Now there is a new trend of branded homes. So of course there is a market which is growing, and that is the reason there are so many branded homes and luxury projects are being launched pan-India, at least with the 4 metro cities.
Uzmaji, before you start, I just want to make an announcement. Can we please request all of you, we can hear a lot of noise here on the stage. So can I please request everyone to listen to the conversation on stage, please? Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, so with the disposable income and people having access, and I'm sure definitely the luxury market, there has been a definite growth, and it is coming from Indians who are aspiring. And definitely there are so many more things. It is what the amenities that we also give. It's not only the price point. It is larger homes and more. Bigger spaces and more beautiful spaces.
Ashwini ji?
Yeah, so like I was mentioning, this is again coming into the last couple of years. We've seen in Bangalore at least a lot of people upgrading the houses, like from smaller 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom kind to a larger spaces as such. And with this entire thing of like a bit of work from home, people need some a mini office space within the house as such to take the calls, to have the meetings and all that. So as and when they're working at home as well. So that, and even in the apartment complexes like Uzma had mentioned, a couple of the features are like, many projects now are giving more conference rooms, meeting rooms within the apartment spaces. So people are having the meetings in the houses, in the project itself. So that is it's one of the features, but it's well taken by everyone right now.
So post the pandemic, did we see a change in the buyer preferences? Did we see more people going in for larger homes, maybe with say a study or a work area or a recreation center, all of those things? Did we see that? Did we see that buyers would prefer to maybe move away from the center of the city and invest in a larger space, vis-a-vis staying in the heart of the city in a smaller space? Is that a trend that we've seen, Mr. Chordia?
Sorry, come again?
So I was asking that have we seen a change in the trend on what the buyers are asking since the pandemic? Did we see people opting for a bigger home away from the city, vis-a-vis, staying in the heart of the city in a smaller space? Have we seen that change?
Yeah, see, post-pandemic, the requirement of buyers have changed a lot. They're looking for bigger homes. Even the smaller, like 2-bedroom apartments, also people are looking for a home office in their apartment. And yes, people are traveling a little bit further to get bigger homes at a lesser price. So this trend, we have seen it in Pune to a large extent.
Seen that in Bangalore?
Of course, most definitely, because people thought I can just go to the airport, take a flight and leave. And the home was the bed and breakfast, and we didn't really pay attention. But now the home has become the most important. So people are investing for homes like an hour away from the city, which is a beautiful villa with a clubhouse and a hotel and maybe a golf course, so they can play a round of golf on the weekends and also entertain. So that it's definitely changed. You don't have, when the pandemic hit, people said London and Paris are not, so close as I thought, but a home from an hour from the city will definitely make a lot of sense. So yeah, so it's definitely, and we've seen it a lot at Prestige and some of our luxury projects. People are like, listen, I want that now, and the home is become a statement, and home is where the heart is.
Absolutely. We've also seen a rise in gated communities, Mr. Pai. If you could talk a little bit about that, because in the Delhi NCR region, for instance, we have some, ultra luxury complexes which are gated. And when you walk into those complexes, you don't feel like you're in India, very disconnected from the reality. So is that a growing trend? Do we see more of such communities coming up, say, across metro cities, but also in tier 2 and tier 3?
So in Bangalore, these gated communities has always been there. Like, forever. Some of the largest gated communities, it's all been towards, say, a Whitefield area or where the IT companies and all have, were already established. But over the years, you're seeing the same concept, being replicated across Bangalore. So Bangalore, larger projects, anything about 20, 30 acres as such, there are quite a few projects like that, and many of them are all gated communities itself. So giving all these features, some of them, like Uzma mentioned, Prestige, they've done a wonderful golf course project near the airport. So similar to that, many other projects are there which are gated communities. And
do we see more of such projects coming up in tier 2 and tier 3 cities?
Tier 2 probably, yeah. Tier 2 cities, but more of plotted development. So those, unless it's a villa development where you build the villas and give it, just by selling plots, people take their own sweet time to build the houses. So that's when, it can be the project will be sold out, but not many houses are built. But if you build the villas, build the houses and give it, that's when people start moving in and live there. That's when you build a community around it.
Okay. I want to talk about the features of these homes, the rise of automation in these homes, use of AI maybe in these homes. What are the trends? What are the trends that are shaping the luxury homes market in India? Mr. Chordia.
Now, a lot of automation is being part of the design from the architects and from the developers. And yes, the new generation wants automation in their homes, whether it is lights, dimmable, curtains. Of course, we have not graduated to get to a refrigeration and all under AI, but it's happening. The trend is going on.
Uzma, would you like to?
You were talking about gated communities. That's been there for a while. What we are creating at Prestige are townships, which are villas, plots, apartments, school, maybe a hotel and a hospital. So that is the way forward.
I also wanted to ask about use of automation in these homes. How much of this is
for luxury, automation is a requirement. It is a need, but it's what level of automation and what level of AI are you putting into homes, and that is a definite must.
Mr. Pai?
I think it's a bit of a double-edged sword, this home automation. It all depends on how tech-driven is the person as well. So we do give, most of the developers do give some sort of home automation, but it's up to the customer if they want to build upon it. Because we do have customers who come in and keep, not a complaint, but they keep turning around saying that kids go run around the house saying, Alexa, switch on the lights, Alexa, switch on the lights. So it's also the plus points are you can control everything from where you're seated as such. But then again, you have to be tech savvy as well.
So are people asking for robots in their homes?
I don't think we've come across that.
Not yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. But do you see that happening in the near future? Especially in Bangalore, the tech capital?
Yeah, robots not yet in homes, but I've seen them in hotels for sure.
So I want to ask the three of you, your top three developers in the country. The big complaint, or at least I have that big complaint, is that while luxury homes cost a fortune, but as soon as you exit your luxury enclave, you encounter very bad infrastructure, broken roads, and so on. Is this something that maybe the developers can take up because the government is clearly not being able to tackle it effectively? Would that mean that it will be more value, to the buyers also?
So let me put it across like this. In India, the development starts first and then the infrastructure. So there is a catch-up. But globally, anywhere in the world, it would be the infrastructure would get first and then the housing permission would be given. So we are lacking in that because the demand of urbanization is so much that government is not able to cope up with the infrastructure. So that is a big issue we see.
Uzma? can I
Yeah,
get
but on
your-
a more positive note, we work with the government. You must have read that we are helping build a flyover, which the government should be doing. So yes, the infrastructure of the city is very important, and I believe that developers have to work hand in hand with the government. So we also have the CREDAI body, which is a national body, and we all work together to ensure that we get the infrastructure that the country and its citizens need. I mean, it's really sad, like Sir said, we don't have a blueprint, we don't have a master plan, we don't think of the infrastructure. Our population is growing and people are moving, and a lot of NRIs are coming into our country. So the government needs to look at it, but as developers, we need to work hand in hand. It's very important.
All right, Mr. Pai?
Yeah, in Bangalore, we've seen a lot of developers participating and partnering with the government and the PPP models and within the neighborhood or whatever it is, beautifying the roads or developing the roads or maintaining the roads and the infrastructure as such. That's quite a, I mean, many of the developers as CREDAI Bangalore, we've all taken the initiative and we have partnered with the government. But I think the bigger issue is in terms of the population. Any plans by the government as such, it always takes them. The planning is for 5 years or whatever. Implementation is 10 years. So and the population is always growing. So
All right. Thank you so much. On that note, we have to conclude because our next speaker is here. But we do hope that luxury housing continues to grow in India, and we do hope that you keep setting the benchmark higher. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
thank you, Shweta.
Thank you.
Forbes India Developers A-List, powered by Jaguar Group.